is today.
Hello!
Hi! Yay! Vogue Knitting Live. We're doing it.
I found Carly.
Hi!
Welcome to episode 27 of Made with Carlenergy. I'm Carlene, and this is my knitting podcast. You can also find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Carlenergy. It is my first episode of 2018, but it's already January 22nd, so I hope the year has started off well for you. I need to start doing this at least twice a month because too much happens. My knitting life is very full recently. It always is, but yeah, recently I've just finished a lot of projects, and I went to Vogue Knitting Live, which you would have seen some clips from at the beginning of this episode. So I have a lot to talk about. It definitely will be another longer episode. So I hope you have some knitting to work on and a beverage of your choice. And yes, thank you to all my returning viewers as well as my new viewers and subscribers. I've noticed that a lot of you have subscribed recently to join in, and I'm so glad you've come by to spend some time and just hang out with your knitting and me. So, finished objects. I am wearing my asymmetrical cardigan. This is a pattern from Knitting Nature by Nora Gahn. So I was working on this in my last episode. I think I was up to the back maybe. I definitely had both front pieces done. And I was really trying to finish this before Vogue Knitting Live. Not that I even wore it during the event because it was inside and it was warm because we were in a convention center or full of people, so it gets warm in there. But I don't know, these deadlines that I set for myself help me to, I guess, motivate me on the project. So this was a quick project. I think I started it on December 13th and finished it on January 8th. So a nice quick sweater. I'll remind you what the pattern looks like. So yeah, the asymmetrical cardigan from Knitting Nature. And I knit it out of a skein of Empire by Jill Draper Make Stuff, which doesn't have colorways. They're all very uniquely dyed. And Empire are those big yarn baby skeins that are 1,230 yards in one skein. They do have knots in them, so I will say, which still 2 knots for 1,230 yards is amazing, but they do, I've used 2 skeins of Empire, and I think the first one I used had 2 knots, and then this one did as well. But it's a non-superwash wool, so I've always either wet spliced them together or done a Russian join and then did a little bit of felting, and that works really well with this yarn. So it's an Aran weight, and it's a 100% Rambouillet, and I love working with this yarn. It's super sheepy, but has a really nice hand to it. It's woolly but pretty soft, definitely next to skin soft, I would say, for most people, I think, who like wool. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to work with. It smelled really good, and it still does. It just feels really nice. And so I will try to stand up a little bit and show you how it looks. And yeah, so the sleeves came out pretty long, so they do a little bit of this kind of bunching thing, which I don't mind. I think that kind of adds to the style of the sweater. I knit the small size. There's an extra small, and then this is the small. So yeah, I like the sizing of it. I probably could have gotten away with doing the extra small because it did block out a bit. But I wanted this to really feel like a nice cozy, possibly like, you know, a nice outer garment sweater, and it definitely came out just like I had wanted it. The styling of this photo is, I think, really what got me with this sweater. I wanted to be this girl in the photo, basically. So, you know, some patterns just come out and the styling of the photo, you just want that life. So yeah, this one was one of those where I wanted the feeling of what this photo gave me with making this sweater, if that makes sense. And it definitely came out just the way I had wanted it to, based on the feeling I was getting from the photo and the pattern. So I'm really happy about that. It's so comfortable. It blocks really nicely, and yeah, it just softens up and just feels great. And the buttons are, oh, I don't remember. I should have looked up, tried to find this Etsy seller. I don't even know if she still has these. I got these years ago, and they're actually like made out of real branches, real tree branches. And I stole these off of another sweater that I knit a long time ago that I'm considering unraveling to take the yarn back because I never wear it. And so I had these buttons on it. So I had about, I think there's about 10 of these buttons. It was a cardigan with a long button band that I knit years ago. So I stole 3 of those buttons off of that sweater. So yeah, this one just has 3. And I probably won't wear it buttoned too often. Yeah, so it is asymmetrical as far as this front panel is narrower than this one, so it kind of comes over like this. And then, yeah, the way that it hangs actually makes it kind of asymmetrical in the length too, which I really like. I like asymmetrical things for some reason. So the button bands, you might be able to see that they are a bit different in color than the rest of the sweater. I did run out of yarn with this Empire skein. I thought that I had enough with that one skein of Empire based on the pattern, the yardage requirements in the book for the size that I was making. But I think because of just it being a different fiber content, and I did go down in needle size. I knit it on size 9s, and it calls for, I think, a 10 or a 10 and a half. And yeah, I think just the it calls for a blend with a lot of alpaca in it. And I think just because of it calls for 100% cashmere. Yeah, so that's why I wasn't going to do that. Yeah, I think just the difference in fiber content and the needles I used and my gauge. I did knit it to the gauge in the pattern pretty accurately, but yeah, I ran out of yarn. I got the body of the sweater is knit in one piece basically, and then you knit the collar and the button bands in this weird like strip thing. So the button band the collar gets knit, and then you just do the strips, and then so this is all seamed here. My seam doesn't look that great from the inside, but yeah, you have to sew on the collar and then the button band. So there's another seam right here. And when I got to the collar, my ball of yarn was looking like I was going to run out. But so I considered making the collar shorter, but I didn't want to do that. I had already knit the sleeves because this also gets picked up around here to knit the ribbing on the sleeves. And so I could have, in hindsight, kind of saved some yarn, knit the cuffs a little shorter, but I really like that I can pull them up like this. So I could have saved some yarn there, and I could have made the collar a little shorter, but I really wanted this big dramatic collar. So once I realized I was definitely going to run out of yarn, I had to get creative. And I already had this other skein of Empire, which is mostly knit up into my Birch Bay pullover, which I started, 2 years ago at least, and haven't finished yet. This is the back. So this is a pattern by Julie Hoover for Brooklyn Tweed a couple years ago. And this is also gorgeous. I really need to finish it, but I haven't finished this yet. I'm almost done with the front. This is the back, and then I have to do, there's like 3/4 length ribbed sleeves and then a big ribbed turtleneck for this pullover. And so I had this yarn, and the thing about these two skeins of Empire were they were very similar in terms of the colors. They were just kind of reversed. They were kind of fraternal twins. So this one was more of like the taupey color, and then this one had more of the moss green. This one just has a little bit of the moss green kind of throughout it. So I decided that I would stripe in this with the other skein for the button bands, and I'm really happy with how that worked out. I think the colors were similar enough that there is obviously a difference between the body and the button band, but I don't think it's really too jarring. I think it kind of works kind of seamlessly almost. Actually, there's more on the back here. There's more in this skein of the more taupe color. And then yeah, there were certain spots in this skein where it was more green, so I think overall, like, it almost looks like it could have all come from the same ball of yarn. Of course, now I'm worried that I'm going to run out of yarn here for the rest of my birch bay, but I'll have to solve that problem when I come to it. Yeah. If anything, I'll make the turtleneck shorter, or do something different for the turtleneck of the birch bay. But yeah, this really came to the rescue, because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I really wanted to have it done, and yeah, I didn't want to have to put in a different yarn or anything like that. So my 2 skeins of Empire saved the day. Yeah, I'm worried that now that I look at this ball, there's still a lot in here, but knowing at the point where I was feeling that I was running out here, I'm kind of worried about this. But yeah, we'll figure that out. So I think that's all I have to say about my asymmetrical cardigan. I really love it. It's definitely going to get a lot of use, and it was really fun to knit. I really enjoyed the yarn and the pattern. I put notes, detailed notes on my Ravelry project page for this, because I had to kind of fudge some of the numbers in one section of the pattern, but it really wasn't a big deal. The pattern is very well written, other than there's just one inconsistency with the stitch count, which I have all the notes in on my Ravelry page for it, if you're looking to make this one too. I also finished the hat that I was working on that I showed in my last episode, but I don't know where it is. I don't think I lost it. It's probably, I want to say it's in my car. I'm not sure where it is, but it came out pretty big. I was wearing it in the city when I went to Vogue Knitting Live. And it works. It's very slouchy. There were 2 versions. It's the skeleton key tam. I'm gonna forget the designer's name, but her first name is Simone, and it's on Ravelry. So skeleton key tam comes with 2 sizes, and I knit the slouchy size, and it does come with a beret style, which I was reading the project notes, and a lot of people did say that the slouchy version comes out huge, and it did. I do like it, but I might end up ripping it out to make it smaller. We'll see. I'm planning on growing my hair out again, I think, so I might just leave it and decide when my hair is longer if it, I think it'll look better with more hair, but we'll see. But yeah, I don't know where that went. I have to find it. I'm hoping it's in my car and that I did not lose it in the city somewhere. I also finished, which I did not show as a work in progress because I cast these on and had them finished in between episodes, but I finished these little fingerless mitts. So this is the Tatera. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's the Tatera mitts. And this is in Olga's capsule collected for Brooklyn Tweed. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's Olga Jazzy Knits from Ravelry. The Olga we all know and love from Brooklyn Tweed Patterns and other places. So yeah, Tatera. And I bought this yarn to make these at Gauge Intention, when Gauge Intention was still open, run by Michelle Wong in Brooklyn a couple years ago, which I still miss dearly. It was a great shop, and I miss Michelle being in the city. And she was at Vogue Knitting Live, and I somehow missed her. I think she was only she was at the MYAC booth, and I missed her. And she lives in Las Vegas now, so I didn't get to say hello. But oh well. Yeah, I missed. As many people as I saw at Vogue Knitting Live, there were a few people that I knew were there, but somehow you just don't run into everybody that you might try to be running into. It's such a hectic environment that you're just kind of, some people you miss. But anyway, yeah, these are my Tatera mitts. and I knit them exactly to pattern for the shorter version of the pattern. And it's Brooklyn Tweed Loft. I don't remember the colorway name for the black. I want to say it's charcoal, but for some reason I think that's not right. But anyway, yeah, I've wanted to knit these. I bought the yarn for them for a couple years ago, and I finally knit them up. And they were really fun to do. It's all these kind of short row, what would you call this? Not welts, but anyway, it's all short rows, and it makes this really cool kind of crescent shape. And they went really fast. I think I'm going to send these to a friend of mine who I actually saw during Vogue Knitting Live weekend, but and I was trying to finish them to give them away that weekend, but I didn't quite make it, so I think I'm going to send these away to a friend and probably buy another skein of Loft to make the same exact ones, because yeah, I really like them, and I like that they're black because they would go with everything, but yeah, they're super fun. So I finished those. I forget what date I started them on, but they were done within a couple weeks. And I finished a couple socks. I finished one of my Christmas Eve cast on socks. So this is the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas pattern by Danny of Little Bobbins Knits. And I knit it out of a homespun house in her gingerbread cookie colorway, which was part of a kit a few years ago, so I don't know if this is something that she's ever dyed again. And it was on, I think it's called her Dale Fingering base, and again, I think her bases have kind of changed since then, but this is 100% non-superwash merino. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I know it doesn't have any nylon in it. So I was hesitating for a while on casting this yarn on because I didn't know if I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and I didn't know if I wanted to make non-superwash socks, but when Danny's pattern came out, I decided I really wanted to knit these up with this yarn. So I finished one, and the pattern shows up decently. It definitely is a little more variegated than I think I would have chosen if I was looking to buy a skein for this pattern or had something lighter in my stash to use. But I think it works. It definitely looks better on my foot, and I think after I haven't blocked them yet, so I like it. I like it that it's subtle. And yeah, so I finished one. I haven't cast on the second yet. I also finished my first Irving sock. So the Irving socks pattern is by my friend Jacqueline Salem of Brooklyn Knit Folk. And have you cast on a pair? Because if you haven't, you need to do that. That's your next sock, because this pattern is so fun. I haven't done her Clark socks yet, but I know I'm going to eventually. But I started with the Irving socks, and again I need to block these, but I only have one finished so far. But I just loved doing this pattern. It's really fun. It's got garter or pearl ridges on the back. I knit this two pattern except for the heel. I did a heel flap and gusset. I think the pattern includes instructions for a short row heel, but this is just what I prefer to do at the moment. And I did the toe a little bit differently. I do a rounded toe. I forget which pattern I think Mina Phillip actually. I think in Mina Phillip's basic sock pattern is where I found this toe. So it's slightly more rounded than some other of the basic decreases for toes. And this is my hand-dyed yarn. This is a colorway that I'm hoping to repeat because I do really like how it looks. So yeah, that's yarn I dyed myself, and I really like how it looks in Jacqueline's pattern. And I'm thinking, yeah, if I am able to repeat this colorway, and when I finally get a shop going and everything, I might save these socks for a little while as a sample for this colorway. Excuse me. But I don't know, because I'm going to be really tempted to wear them. They're really pretty. So I have to cast on a second one, get the second sock for that pair as well. I'm working on a pair for my dad right now, so I'm trying to get those done before I make more socks for myself. But those were both really fun to do. Oh, I need some tea. And yeah, I think that might be it for finished objects, since I don't know where my hat is. So I will move on to what I've been working on. Other than that sock for my dad, which is somewhere in another room, it's just a plain vanilla sock, so not that interesting. I have picked up my Oracle shawl again, which I don't think has ever made it onto the podcast, because I started this while I was still living in Arizona, and I didn't work on it for a while. So this is the Oracle shawl by Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast. And let's see how I can hold this up. I'm on the final stretch here. It's up to over 1,000 stitches now, so you can see how bunched up on the needle that is and how many little stitch markers there are. But it's so pretty. It's such a pretty pattern. And so these colors are a little outside of my normal like color pairing range, but I do really like it. I dyed 2 of these colors. So the green and the yellow were some of my first hand-dyed yarns with acid dyes back when I first started experimenting with them. And that's just on the Knit Pick Stroll base, because I had ordered a bag of Knit Pick Stroll to practice with. So those are just non-repeatable. They were just when I was first starting and figuring things out. And then I had this skein of the Sock Squatch colorway from Wool and Vine Yarns on her footsie base, I believe it is. And so yeah, I really liked how those went together. I actually based this off of a color scheme of the dresser I had in Arizona. We found this really cute, it was pretty beaten up, this little dresser, but we needed a dresser for our clothes in Tucson. And so there was this dresser for $12.99 at Goodwill, and it had this flower pattern painted on the top drawer in these colors. So that's kind of where I got my inspiration to put these together. And the flowers were actually kind of shaped like the shawl too. So that kind of, yeah, it just made me happy to have something themed with that cute little dresser. So yeah, I'm on the when I put this down, I was halfway through the lace, and then so since I guess midweek last week, oh no, I'm dropping stitches. Hold on, whoa, getting too excited. Okay, crisis averted. So I was halfway through the lace in this green section, and so since picking it up about midweek last week, I've been trying to be pretty monogamous with this, other than my dad's sock and my next project. But I've gotten the lace finished, the brioche section, and then this is the last short lace repeat before the I-cord bind off. So I'm really trying to get this off the needles. I'm still enjoying it, but it is a bit of a slog, I will say. I mean, that's a lot. That's a huge row or a huge round to get through to feel like, okay, I've done a round. So it's a big project, but I'm trying to stick with it. There are so many things I want to cast on. there are 3 shawls that I have the yarn all piled up for that are calling my name so badly, but I'm really trying to finish this before I do that, because I think it will be all the more satisfying to start a new project knowing that I've finished a big one. People are walking their dog outside. Oh, he's so fluffy. He's cute. I don't know who that is, but they have a cute dog. Okay. So at Vogue Knitting Live, I met Stephen West for the first time, which was fantastic. I put a clip of my meeting him at the beginning of this episode, which Mina Phillip, the knitting expat, filmed for me, which I didn't know she was filming a video. She was taking pictures for me on my phone when I met him, but I didn't realize until afterwards that she had been filming a video of us, me meeting him. So thank you, Mina. That was really great, and it's really nice to have that clip on video. Yeah, like everybody says, he's super sweet and super nice, and I had butterflies in my stomach, like, you know, walking up and waiting in line to meet him. But yeah, I mean, he's super laid back, and I had a quick little conversation with him, and yeah, the clip is pretty noisy, of course, because it was filmed in the middle of everything. So you might not have been able to hear what we were saying too much, but yeah, it was really lovely to meet him. I haven't gotten the chance yet, so that was really cool, and I was wearing my Speckle and Pop shawl. Yeah, so that was really fun, and I got the new West Knits 2 sweater book, which I didn't bring that over with me. Where is it? It's right here. So I got West Knits 2, or West Knits Best Knits 2, is that what it's called? Yeah, this is the sweater collection, and I got it signed, and I did get one of the Stephen and Penelope booth. They had these ribbons for Knitwear Style Award, so got one of those, and I'm using that as a bookmark. And so I started a Marled Magic sweater also while I was still living in Tucson, so it hasn't ever been on a podcast episode. And I started it and got really obsessed with it, and I was staying up until like 3 in the morning working on it for a couple nights. It was a weird time. Going through a breakup, needed a really fun sweater to work on. So that's when I started my Marled Magic sweater, and I put it down. I've had it put down for a while since I've had other things to work on. But sorry, I keep going off screen. After meeting Stephen, I was inspired to pick it up and add more onto it. So I will show you that. Let's see. So it started with this very turquoise section. That was section 1, and the Marled Magic sweater is the one where Marled Magic was a shawl, a mystery shawl pattern that he did, and I was really disappointed because that was the one Stephen West mystery knit along that I decided to skip out on in the last couple years. I think I've done them all since the Doodler, except for Marled Magic. So I did the Doodler, and then he did Marled Magic, I think, and then it was Building Blocks, which I did, and then the Speckle and Pop. I might be missing one, but anyway, I've done all of those, but Marled Magic was in between, I think, the Doodler and the Building Blocks knit along, and I skipped it because I had all these other things that I was working on, and I just decided to leave it out. And I was so disappointed because I loved how Marled Magic came out. I loved that pattern. And then he came out with the sweater pattern for it, so I was really excited because the sweater starts with the same couple of sections and then continues to become a sweater. So anyway, yeah, that was section 1, and then section 2 was the seed stitch section here. So I really like this part of this section. I think that came out really cool. And then I think this was section 3, or this was maybe, yeah, that little triangle. So these are leftovers from my Find Your Fade, which I still have to block. And then I did this brioche section with a bunch of pinks, and this has mohair through the whole thing. And then this is section, let's see, 1, 2, I think like either 3 or 4 or 4 or 3. And then this is section 5, which I have done since coming back from Vogue Knitting Live. I had done part of it while still in Arizona, but I didn't like how the colors are coming out. And I know, you know, kind of Steven's philosophy is just add 10 more colors if you don't like part of a section, but I just wasn't liking that section, so I tore it out because I wanted to add in my leftovers from my Speckle and Pop. So most of these that it starts with are my mini set, which was from Lavender Loon Yarns, and it was colorways inspired by the Big Lebowski movie. So that's what started off this section. And then some of my main colors from Speckle and Pop got in there. And now I've used pretty much all my leftovers from that shawl up at this point, and I'm starting to fade in some more leftovers from my Find Your Fade shawl. I also met Andrea Mowry for the first time at Vogue Knitting Live, which was great. So yeah, that is my Marled Magic, and I really like it so far. I'm feeling like it's a little rainbow for me. Like I've got a lot going on here, but I think it'll all come together somehow. I really like each section on its own. So I'm really having fun just using each section as its own color experiment and as its own way to kind of use colors that I've used in other pieces in a different way. Because yeah, this is my Speckle and Pop, which I've shown a lot. So the leftovers from that are in this section. So it's reminiscent of it, but it's really cool to see the colors come together in a different way. So that's been really fun. I'm just throwing things everywhere. This room's going to be crazy. I'm going to get tangled up in here forever after I finish this episode. So yeah, and I might work on this a little bit more in this section, but then put it down for a while again because I have to knit more fingering weight, you know? Like, I have a lot of scraps, which I've been keeping in my huge, beautiful sweater project bag from, this is from The Fawn and the Fox. Laura of the Fawn Knits made this bag, which I absolutely love. So this is a bunch of scraps in it. And I was kind of taking a lot of color inspiration from this bag. I don't know if you can really tell because it's diverted in a lot of ways from that, but yeah, I was taking a lot of my color inspiration from there. And yeah, I've been trying to do a little bit of color planning, so I know that I want to do a section with a lot of greens and browns, and a little bit of lavender kind of thrown in there, so that's going to be another section. So I love these projects. They're just so much fun to play with color and texture in different ways than I would for other projects. But yeah, I want to put that down for a while again because I want to finish more shawls and more socks so that I have those scraps, if I do have any scraps, to put in that sweater. I don't want to finish the sweater too quickly if that makes sense, because I know that I have other colors that will go in there if I can just get the shawls finished with the yarns that I then want to add to that sweater. So yeah, that's another reason why there's a lot of shawls I want to cast on right now, just so I can have scraps for my Stephen West projects, which is a little silly, but yeah. But I also have like 5 sweaters that I need to knit, at least. I'm trying to be, so my 2018 word, if I have any, is organized. I really want to be more organized with my projects, and I want to take my time, even though I have this really frenetic energy to cast everything. I have such an urge to cast on new things right now, but I'm really trying to get through my Oracle shawl, and I've got my Birch Bay that I'd like to get off the needles, and then I also have a Tanya that I have knit most of. I knit most of it in Tucson. I guess I'll show you that too, because I feel kind of silly about what I'm going to do with it. But this is Tanya, which is Tegna, by Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knits. Of course, I want to knit all of her patterns, basically. But so I knit all of this in Tucson. All it needs is sleeves and the collar. And this is Manos del Uruguay Serena yarn, which is an alpaca cotton blend, so it's really gorgeous. And I got this yarn while I was working at Grandma's Spinning Wheel in Tucson. We had several skeins in stock that were the same colorway, but as you can see, the dye lot, they were very different in between dye lots. So there were 4 or 5 skeins I think I bought where some of them were darker, and then this it faded into a lighter color. So yeah, I knew I wanted to buy those and do something where I faded from the dark to light. And then the Tanya pattern came out, and I was like, okay, perfect. But I don't like how I've got such a distinct stripe right there, because I had started fading in the lighter color. And there's actually several skeins even in the bottom part, but they weren't as drastic of a difference until this one. So I don't like that that's such a striped transition. And so what I'm going to do is rip it back and stripe in the lighter color sooner, so that there's more of a section where it's this it looks like this color before it goes into the very light color. So I know it's silly to rip it out when it's so close, and I mean, I could live with it, but I don't want to. I really want it to fade more gradually, so I think I am going to have to take it back and redo that. So that's another one where I'm like, I'm not dreading doing that, because I did really enjoy working with this yarn, and I want the finished product to be just what I want, but it's kind of annoying to have to do that. I should have known. I knew back then that I didn't like it, and I kept going, but we do these things, I guess. So, okay, I'm at 40 minutes. I'm sorry if I'm kind of talking too fast and rushing through things, but there's just so much. Let's see. I will show you my stuff from Bed and Roses, because I ordered a project bag and a necklace from an Etsy shop called Bed of Roses, which is owned and all the stuff is made by a lady in Norway called, her name is Catherine, and I'll probably mispronounce her last name, but it's Catherine Storheel. So this is her name. And so she's Bed of Roses on Instagram and Ravelry. and she is incredible. I've been lusting after her stuff for quite a while, and I finally caved last month and ordered a few things from her. And she sent me the most gorgeous package. I mean, yeah, tear-worthy. I mean, it was so beautifully packaged, and we had such a nice correspondence before she shipped it, because she had asked me if I'd like to get some giveaway things too for my podcast and for my Instagram. So I ordered in December, and the package came from Norway at the beginning of January. And yeah, I was blown away by how everything was packaged. So I'll show you what I got from her. So this is the necklace, and these necklaces on her Etsy page look really beautiful, and then I got it, and it was even, I mean, it was much, I mean, yeah, see, I can't even talk about her stuff. It was even more beautiful than I thought it was going to be. It is so well made and just delicate. So it's a leather cord, and then this nice loop, and then all of these beautiful little progress keepers and stitch markers. But I mean, wearing it, it just looks like a piece of jewelry. So I am so into the knitting notions as jewelry thing, and I think Catherine's doing it just so well. I've been wanting something like this for a while, but I haven't really found anybody who's quite doing it as well as she is. So yeah, just all these little beads. She uses really high quality beads and findings, and I love, let's see, yeah, I love these ones because, yeah, she did a lobster claw with stitch markers on it. So, you know, you can take some off and it would still look like, even just as the loop, it would look like a piece of jewelry. But yeah, I love that you can add to this or take things away to use on your projects, and it would still look just as nice as a piece of jewelry. It's perfect. So yeah, I'm just in love with this. I wore it at Vogue Knitting Live, so I was showing it off there. And yeah, so this is how it looks. Yeah, it just looks like a really cool, funky piece of jewelry. And the cord is adjustable. So I got that, and I also couldn't resist, while I was ordering that, this project bag with butterflies on it. Isn't that gorgeous fabric? And it's got this nice brown bottom. It's lined really nicely. It's even got, I have yarn in here because I'm planning a shawl, but she has her label in here as well, and a nice key ring for stitch markers and things like that. Or I guess you could even thread your yarn through there maybe to keep it in place. Yeah, this is the other side. I put my Elizabeth Zimmerman pin from the Fat Squirrel Knits on there because I thought she looked nice on there with the colors. So yeah, I also think that this bag is even better than in person than it was on the Etsy listing. And so those are the two things I ordered, and then she spoiled me with extra stuff. I got a needle cozy that matches the bag, and some more stitch markers and progress keeper with a little feather. So pretty. And she sent me this one. That one's got a little bell and a little glitter bulb. I think this is Liberty fabric, I want to say. She's doing more ones with the little deer in a different color print, but I think it's a similar print with deer and woodland flowers and things. I think this is Liberty fabric. Yeah. And then this one, I love this little pine cone. So she has all these necklaces and progress keeper and stitch marker sets with different assortments of these really beautiful little charms. So I love these, and yeah, they're just super well made, and all the details, the packaging. So this is how she sent the needle cozies in these gorgeous little boxes. And then the bag. This is part of my giveaway stuff, and I ripped it a little bit because I wanted to be able to show the bag, but yeah, everything had little flower petals taped on. It was so beautiful. She sent me a really nice note, and she sent me some tea, which is one of the ones I'm drinking. Some yogi. This is the Yogi Classic. So it's a spice mix, which is really nice. She had a little sachet in there, which smells really nice. I mean, everything was just it was a treasure to open. So, you want to see the stuff I have for giveaway. So I think with the needle, I have 2 needle cozies with stitch marker sets to give away. This is one of them. And it has the, I think, yeah, the star lining. And one of the feather charms and a couple other ones. So this one I will be giving away as a podcast giveaway. So to enter to win this needle cozy, which will come in a beautiful little gift box, leave a comment below this video on this episode. Let's see, what should my question be? I just want to know what your plans are for 2018. What is a either a crafting goal or a life goal? It could be big or small for this year. I know that that's kind of been a theme in a lot of episodes on other podcasts and stuff. But yeah, I'm just curious, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be really small. One of my things is to learn how to sew and to knit from my stash and not buy any yarn. So those are a couple of my things. So it could be anything along those lines. Maybe you want to start a garden. Maybe you want to learn more recipes, or yeah, try a new ingredient, or try a new exercise plan. Anything like that. It could be crafting related or otherwise. So yeah, I'm really trying to hold myself accountable for my not my resolutions, but my intentions for 2018. I know that that's a big word, kind of a buzzword. I feel like is going around, but I'm really trying to hold myself to that this year, rather than just thinking about it. I do a lot of thinking, and I have the intention to do something, but I don't follow through. So yeah, follow through is something that I want to be better with this year. So yeah, just for a chance to win this beautiful needle cozy by Bed of Roses, please leave a comment below and tell me what your thoughts are for the year. And if you don't have any, that's okay too. Maybe just say, I want to continue the status quo because I'm happy with how things are going. That's great too. So just leave a comment. Tell me what you're thinking, what you've got going on. Hello, this is Carlene of the future popping in because I realized that I forgot to give a deadline for the giveaway. I will leave that open until Monday, February 5th, so you have 2 weeks to leave a comment on this episode, so hopefully that gives you enough time to watch the episode and then to enter for the giveaway. Leave a comment on this video, and then I'll use a random number generator to select a winner. So, yep, Monday, February 5th will be the day that I draw for the winner. And the second needle cozy by Bed of Roses that I'm going to give away, I'm going to do as Instagram only. So I'm showing it here, but to be eligible to win this one, you have to follow me and follow Bed of Roses as well on Instagram. And I haven't posted the details of that yet, but I think by the time you're watching this, I will have posted about this on my Instagram, Carlenergy. It's the same way that it's spelled for my YouTube channel, if you don't follow me there already. And yeah, I will have all the information on how to enter over there for this one. So again, I am showing it here. It's this beautiful, delicate floral print. And again, it's the same same stitch markers pretty much as the other one. But yeah, in order to enter to win this one, you will have to go over to Instagram and leave me a comment and follow Bed of Roses. And again, I will post all the information for these in the down bar below and on my Instagram for this one. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know. But and that one also comes in a beautifully packaged box. And then I do have a project bag that Catherine sent me for a giveaway, which I had showed the packaging. And it is the same fabric as the one that I have. I think it's a little larger, and the butterflies are placed a little differently. And the lining in this one is a little thicker, so it's really nice and sturdy. And again, it has a beautiful key ring inside. And then on this one, she actually has her Bed of Roses label. So some of the other things have her name, but I think she may be transitioning over to the Bed of Roses label, which I really like. So yeah, nice plain inside, and I've got her card in there. There's her name again. So yeah, and a leather pull cord. So absolutely gorgeous bag. I don't have any plans for how I'm going to give this away yet, so I hope this isn't too much of a teaser, but I want to resurrect my Ravelry group because yeah, there's been nothing going on over there since I kind of fell off my podcasting routine while I was in Arizona. So yeah, there's really nothing up there right now. I haven't posted my last couple episodes over there, but that's another thing I want to resurrect and do better with, and post show notes and things like that. So and I want to do some type of knit along in order to make that bag a giveaway. So no plans totally firm for that yet. I've got some ideas for a knit along for the podcast group, but yeah, I think I will post this episode over in my Ravelry group and post some show notes, and for once, and hopefully try to get the conversation going with you guys again. I've gotten a lot of comments on my last couple videos, which is I appreciate so much. Yeah, I feel really like I'm like I've gotten to reconnect with you guys, and yeah, I mean it's just really nice to know that there are people watching and people commenting on what I'm doing. So and I definitely want to communicate more with you via Ravelry. So I will post this episode in my Ravelry group, so if you want to come over and start some conversation, that would be great. And yeah, I will think of a knit along or some type of incentive to give that bag away. But again, thank you so much, Catherine. I absolutely love everything you sent me, and I'm totally treasuring them. And yeah, they've made me so happy to use. I haven't actually put any of these stitch markers onto my actually no, I did use one of them for a sock, but I've put it back on the necklace. But yeah, I'm really excited to interchange this with different things and like, you know, add other charms and use it. It's going to be probably an everyday necklace for me. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, go check her out. I feel like yeah, her stuff is just so well made and so aesthetic. Like her whole aesthetic is just so on point. So I know she's going to be very successful with her shop. So yeah, that's all my giveaway stuff. So I think I will talk about Vogue Knitting Live now and show you what came home with me from there, though I did try to behave myself. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up going on a bit of a tangent here. And I know it's been a long episode already, but this is something I kind of want to talk about. So, to be honest, I was not feeling all that excited about Vogue Knitting Live leading right up to it. I was very excited to see all my friends and hang out with them and meet Stephen West for the first time and get his book. But I think I was feeling quite overwhelmed by the idea of the marketplace and being in the marketplace. I have been feeling recently a little burnt out on the consumerism aspect of knitting and yarn and everything that goes along with it. And I'm sorry if this ends up sounding like, yeah, this is probably going to be a lot of unpopular opinion, but this is just what my thought process lately, and it's evolving in my own head. But yeah, I mean, I am really taking a big look at what I spend money on, and it's mostly related to knitting and yarn, which is fantastic. I mean, that's what I like to spend money on, and I'm really happy to put my money towards things that have a lot of history as far as like who made it and you know, hand-dyed yarn and handmade things, things that pins that people have designed that are independent businesses and all that. So there's a lot of independent business that goes along with the knitting industry. So I love that. I love being able to really be able to trace back who I'm buying things from and to be able to support their small businesses. But yeah, with that being said, I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed lately by how much there is. And as somebody who has been dyeing yarn and who wants to start selling it myself, I'm just trying to put myself, like figure out where my place is in the knitting life, you know. I am really interested in having a hand-dyed yarn business and having people knit with yarn that I've dyed. That would be really gratifying to me. But I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I want to be as far as the whole consumerism part of it. Because I think it can be a little overwhelming and a little crazy. And of course, it's all with good intention and the whole fact that we are all makers in this community in some form or another, or many times in multiple forms, is fantastic, and I think it's really a good thing in the world in general. But yeah, I've kind of been looking at my own stash and wondering, you know, okay, like what is reasonable? What can I knit really? How much of this can I knit in a year or 2 years or 5 years? I really like stashing because I find that a lot of times I might have a random skein of yarn from a festival or a shop that I visited while traveling, or you know, all those different ways that stash comes into your life. I really like to have somewhat of a stash because I might have a skein for a year or two or longer, and it might not have any purpose yet, but then a new skein will come in and it will pair up with that skein that I've had sitting around, and all of a sudden it's a project. That's like kind of a magical part of it to me, is I might have something that just needs its color partner, if that makes sense, or you know, maybe I have two skeins and it needs a third for a shawl or something like that, and then all of a sudden it all works together. So I really like that aspect of having a sizable, collection of yarns to choose from. But yeah, I'm just realizing my time constraints, how much is really reasonable to get done in any given month or year, even though I want to knit all the things. So I've been thinking a lot about this lately and how it relates to things that I buy and how it relates to just the culture surrounding purchasing yarn. Yeah, and that being said, under this, this goal of mine to have my own yarn dyeing business. And yeah, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but basically, yeah, the idea of the marketplace, being at the marketplace at Vogue Knitting Live, I really wanted to be very strict with my budget and to avoid basically avoid any yarn that was screaming my name. And so I had a different perspective on looking at the yarn at Vogue Knitting Live, and just wondering where it all comes from. There's a lot of yarn out there, and I'm just thinking a lot about where, yeah, and a lot of it's wool. Where are all these sheep living, and what's the land like that they're living on? I've been really influenced lately, or at least I've resonated a lot with a new podcast, new to me. It's called A Maker's Pilgrimage, and it's hosted by the Knitting Monk on Instagram. And so his name is Aiden, and he has just a really lovely podcast. I've loved all of his episodes I think he's got 8 or 9 up right now, and you should go check him out. He's very interested in sustainability and very locally sourced wool, or at least, very, like he's made the decision to not use superwash wool, and his whole podcast centers around, what am I trying to say? Ecological thinking in relation to craft. And yeah, it's really, it's stuff I've always thought about. And then he sources a lot of books during his podcast and things that he's learned. And so yeah, I've really resonated with that in my own thinking lately. And it's put up a lot of questions in my head about what kind of yarn do I want to use for my business? What kind of dyes do I want to use? And so I've really been wondering, like, where are all these sheep that we get all our yarn from? Obviously, there are multiple sources. There are big and small farms all over the world where this stuff is coming from. And I love using very traceable yarns where you can, either the farm or the town, or sometimes you get right down to the exact sheep or alpaca that the yarn has come from. And I wish it could all be like that. I know that that's not really realistic, at least not right now. But yeah, I'm just thinking a lot about the whole knitting industry and the yarn industry and how that's affecting the planet, because there is an effect. There is an effect of the factories where stuff is being produced and the land that the animals are living on. And it really makes me think at these large festivals and events, when there is so much of it all in one space, where does it all come from? Where is it all going? And obviously it's going to people's stashes, and they're really treasuring it, and they're making things for themselves and for other people, and that's a beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that shouldn't happen anymore. Just in my own personal, like, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to be in that world. In the meantime, I am dyeing yarn with acid dyes on superwash bases, and I really enjoy it. I love the colors that I'm getting, or I'm starting to love the colors I'm getting. I've posted on Instagram. I posted a couple days ago about how this has not come easily for me, the yarn dyeing venture. I still have a lot of questions about, do I like the colors I'm getting and all of that. And you've all been so supportive. I got so many comments about the yarn that I posted, and it's getting dark again. It's after 4, and I'm like rambling on, and I was going to show you yarn that I dyed, but that might not happen again. I think what I'm going to do is make a separate video about the yarn that I've been dyeing. I think that would be best, because then I could just show that and tell you a little bit about my plans for opening up a shop and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about Vogue Knitting Live. So yeah, that was my perspective kind of coming into it. I wasn't too excited about the shopping part, because yeah, I've just tried to kind of figure out where I want to be in the in the level of what I consume in knitting. And I went to college for environmental science, so maybe that's maybe I should explain that. And I haven't been exercising that degree in many years. I haven't had a job related to environmental science in many years, but I still have that perspective, I guess, and I'm very rusty on those things, and like, what's good, what's not so good in terms of consuming things, and there are definitely things I could do better on in terms of what I eat, and the clothing I wear and buy, and yeah, just general life things. But I do my best. I try to do things that I feel are under my control in terms of being a good citizen of the world, and respect our natural resources and things like that. So I'm always trying to kind of better myself in that way. There's definitely a lot that I could be doing more in that way. And since knitting is such a big part of my life, I really want to ask these questions of myself and to assess where I am with that. So yeah, again, sorry if that was like a totally weird tangent, but I don't know. Tell me what you think, if you have an opinion on these things. So I will show you now my consumption of all the goodness at Vogue Knitting Live, because it was amazing. So like I said, yeah, I was not feeling like I was that excited, but once I met up with all my friends, so a big group of us met up for coffee before we went over there. I got to meet some new people. I got to meet Ellie of Skein Deer Knits, and I got to meet Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits and Bad Wolf Girl Studios. She has her own Etsy shop. And I met Emily, who is Slow Fashion Rebel on Instagram, and I think she's planning to get her podcast going again. So Emily is Kristen of Full and Vine Yarn's new assistant. So yeah, it was so good to meet those 3 people that I hadn't met before, but yet felt like we were all just part of the same group. And yeah. So hi ladies, hi all of you that I got to spend Vogue Knitting Live with. Honestly, it did not feel as crazy. After saying all that about feeling overwhelmed by the prospect of the marketplace and the shopping and the crazy, that's my yarn, no, I want that kind of feeling that it can sometimes be in the booths, it didn't feel like that at Vogue. It was very busy and crowded, of course, but it just had a good vibe. I just feel like people were happy. People were really just excited to see their friends and to meet people. I met Christy Glass. I met Stephen West. I met Sam Barsky from Sam Barsky Sweaters. If you don't follow Sam Barsky on Instagram, and I think, yeah, he just started his own video channel too, but Sam Barsky is really awesome. He makes all these really cool intarsia picture sweaters of all the places that he's traveled to. Who else did I met? Kemper of Junk Yarn. So good. And, oh my goodness. Christy Glass, did I already? Yeah, so I met Christy Glass. I've never formally introduced myself to her, so that was really great. And I saw Lavanya. Anyway, yeah, just tons of people, and everybody was just seemed really happy to be there and to be spending time with all the people that, you know, also knit and crochet and craft and etc. Okay, shut up, Carlene. Show us what you got. So, I did get the Stephen West book, which I showed you, I think, already. So that was great. I didn't get his first book. I don't have the first book, the West Knits Best Knits, Volume 1. It's mostly his shawl designs, and I didn't get it. I thought about it since he was there, and I could have gotten it signed, but I've already purchased most of the shawl patterns individually, so I just didn't feel like I needed the book. Yarn did come home, even though I said that 2018 was going to be a no yarn purchase year, but I knew that Vogue Knitting Live was kind of going to be an exception to that, so. And Rhinebeck, I mean, honestly, as long as I don't purchase any more yarn until Rhinebeck 2018, I'll feel okay. But I was with Mina, the knitting expat, and Denise from Yoshi and Lucy Knits. We walked past the Knit Picks booth and saw that they had Felici on sale for $3.50 a ball. So what are you gonna do? I mean, a pair of socks for like $7. Yeah. So this is the steamer trunk colorway, and I don't think this one is available online right now. So that was another reason. I've always I think Kristen knit a pair of socks with this colorway, so I did really want it. So, you know, what are you gonna do? $7 for a pair of socks. You can't pass it up. So I'm excited about that. I want to do a contrast heel and toe with maybe like an olive green or a mustard yellow color. So got those. That was my first, you know, oops, I bought yarn purchase. And oh, where did it go? I have to go find my junk yarn. I'll pause it here. Okay, my junk yarn, which I got a little mini skein because I haven't gotten to use any of Kemper's yarn yet, and so I went with a mini skein since I was being good. So this is her Misty colorway, which is kind of a cream with brown and gray speckles and a little bit of yellow and orange and a little bit of pale pink. My lighting is failing on me at this point. Let's see if a light helps. No. So yeah, that's the Misty colorway. This is on her smooth sock base. So it's a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon blend with 92 yards in a 20-gram mini skein. So yeah, I originally kind of thought that I would use this for the contrast on the Felici that I bought, but I'm not sure. It might hang out for a little while to find its purpose. And I also got a Love Your Junk sticker just because it was too cute. And I didn't realize this until later, but they also slipped in a Vogue Knitting Live sticker, so that's great. There's yarn balls as the wheels. So Kemper of Junk Yarn did a booth along with Shelly Ken, who's been designing a bunch of the really awesome enamel pins. And I did get one of those. So I got the Yarn Snob pin. And I put it on my Home Row Fiber Co. bag. So, yeah, something like that. And this was the tag for it. So, yeah, that was a collaboration with the Lemonade Shop between Lemonade Shop and Shelly Ken. So I met Shelly too. She was really fun. I love what she's been doing. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it from the Junk Yarn Shelly Ken booth. And then I was all settled in at the we found a big table for all of us to sit at, and ate some lunch, and then I forget who it was, but some of us decided to take another walk around the marketplace. And that's where I got into trouble. Honestly, yeah, I really felt like I was enjoying looking at all the beautiful yarn and all the beautiful things, but nothing was totally screaming at me that it had to come home with me until I saw this skein. And this is from Dragonfly Fibers. And yeah, my lighting is just going to be a little, I guess it's showing off the contrast in the skein pretty well. So it's this really light taupey base with a little bit of lavender in it, and then it's got darker browns, and this little streak is what really did it for me with this skein. This is what grabbed me and yeah, wouldn't let me walk away. So it's just that, I mean, and that's so silly because it's not like that's going to be a major part of the project that I make with it, but just that in the skein, just that little bit of rust with the lavender streak, I wanted it. So this is the Dance Rustic Silk base, and it's 450 yards of 100% silk noil, and it's a fingering weight. And the colorway is called Urban Fox. And yeah, with this, so I was looking at the other, I took a picture of it, and I was thinking, well, okay, I'll keep it in mind, and if I want it in a few months, or, you know, whenever I decide that I'm allowed to buy yarn again, then I will, I'll look it up and try to get it online. But I was looking at the other skeins of it, and of course every hand-dyed skein is different, and the other ones seem to have more of the brown, and this one was a little bit lighter, and it had that little streak that I couldn't get over. So I went back to this booth and picked it up. So that's my little oops at Vogue Knitting Live. And obviously I was in a mood because these colors definitely have a lot of similarities. So I'm planning on doing a summer garment with this. It's only 450 yards, which is going to be a little tight to make a full piece, but I found a pattern, which I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but I found a pattern that I think I can get the whole thing out of this one skein. It's a little tank top pattern, but if not, then I have some other ideas for some other summery linen silk blend yarns that I've been stashing that might work with this. So yeah, I'm really glad I got it because it was just the one skein in the whole marketplace that was just screaming at me that I could not leave it behind. So and it wasn't too expensive. So I'm happy I got it. Yeah, because I know I would have regretted not getting it, if that makes sense. It would have bothered me. So, oh, and I also got, so Megan of Bad Wolf Girl Knit Sits and Knits also has Bad Wolf Girl Studios on Etsy. And she was really kind and brought all of us some, I think this is a 50-gram half skein of some of her colorways. So I think, yeah, this is for Gryffindor from Harry Potter. So yeah, I'm excited to use that in something. I love red lately. So that was Vogue Knitting Live. Yeah, the vibe was great. I just had the best time with everybody. I went out to dinner with Kristen, Ellie, and Emily, and then Kristen's husband Dennis met up with us, and then the other girls split up because we were kind of going separate ways afterwards. But yeah, just meeting up for coffee was amazing, and I had a much better time than I thought I would. I mean, I knew I would have a good time no matter what, but just the fact that the vibe was a little calmer than I expected, and yeah, we just got to hang out a lot and knit, which we didn't get a chance to do at Rhinebeck. So yeah, it was a fantastic day, and the weather was cold, but it was a nice clear day. It wasn't raining, it wasn't snowing, so I feel like it couldn't have gone better, basically. So it has been a long episode, and so thank you for sticking with me. Again, I know I want to show you the yarn I've been dyeing, but I don't want to do that in this lighting, and yeah, so I will try to do a separate video very soon of what I've been up to in the dye pots, and give you an idea of yeah, when I think I'll be ready to open a shop and things like that. Thank you so much for all the support I've received on my yarn dyeing. I know it's taken me a long time to really pull things together and make it a real thing, but this is just the pace that I'm going at, and I am finally feeling like I'm kind of hitting a stride with actually dyeing yarn and feeling good about it, instead of thinking that it all isn't up to par. And I know I'll get there. I know that eventually I'll figure out my aesthetic, and the whole point is that I have to practice and dye more, or I will never get there. So I feel really connected to the community right now, as far as yeah, just everybody commenting and just, you know, giving me your feedback. So yeah, I've just been receiving a lot of positivity, and it's made a big difference in how I feel about things. So thank you. Yeah, I'm just very grateful for all of you. So I think with that, even though I might be forgetting things, I will let you go. Thank you so much for stopping by to spend a while with me talking knitting and yarn, and feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you think about anything that I said. You know, I'm very open to having a conversation about these things, because they're things that I'm still learning about myself. And don't forget to leave a comment about your 2018 goals, and you will have a chance to win a needle cozy from Bed of Roses. So thank you all so much, and I hope you're enjoying your knitting, and I will see you soon. Bye. Okay, my junk yarn, which I got a little mini skein because I haven't gotten to use any of Kemper's yarn yet, and so I went with a mini skein since I was being good. So this is her Misty colorway, which is kind of a cream with brown and gray speckles and a little bit of yellow and orange and a little bit of pale pink. My lighting is failing on me at this point. Let's see if a light helps. No. So yeah, that's the Misty colorway. This is on her smooth sock base. So it's a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon blend with 92 yards in a 20-gram mini skein. So yeah, I originally kind of thought that I would use this for the contrast on the Felici that I bought, but I'm not sure. It might hang out for a little while to find its purpose. And I also got a Love Your Junk sticker, just because it was too cute. And I didn't realize this until later, but they also slipped in a Vogue Knitting Live sticker, so that's great. There's yarn balls as the wheels. So Kemper of Junk Yarn did a booth along with Shelly Ken, who's been designing a bunch of the really awesome enamel pins. and I did get one of those. So I got the Yarn Snob pin, and I put it on my Home Row Fiber Co. bag. So yeah, something like that. And this was the tag for it. So yeah, that was a collaboration with the Lemonade Shop, between Lemonade Shop and Shelly Ken. So I met Shelly too. She was really fun. I love what she's been doing. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it from the Junk Yarn Shelly Ken booth. And then I was all settled in at the, we found a big table for all of us to sit at, and ate some lunch, and then I forget who it was, but some of us decided to take another walk around the marketplace, and that's where I got into trouble. Honestly, yeah, I really felt like I was enjoying looking at all the beautiful yarn and all the beautiful things, but nothing was totally screaming at me that it had to come home with me until I saw this skein. And this is from Dragonfly Fibers. And yeah, my lighting is just going to be a little, I guess it's showing off the contrast in the skein pretty well. So it's this really light taupey base with a little bit of lavender in it, and then it's got darker browns, and this little streak is what really did it for me with this skein. This is what grabbed me and yeah, wouldn't let me walk away. So it's just that, I mean, and that's so silly because it's not like that's going to be a major part of the project that I make with it, but just that in the skein, just that little bit of rust with the lavender streak, I wanted it. So this is the Dance Rustic Silk base, and it's 450 yards of 100% silk noil, and it's a fingering weight. And the colorway is called Urban Fox. And yeah, with this, so I was looking at the other, I took a picture of it, and I was thinking, well, okay, I'll keep it in mind, and if I want it in a few months, or you know, whenever I decide that I'm allowed to buy yarn again, then I will I'll look it up and try to get it online. But I was looking at the other skeins of it, and of course every hand-dyed skein is different, and the other ones seem to have more of the brown, and this one was a little bit lighter, and it had that little streak that I couldn't get over. So I went back to this booth and picked it up. So that's my little oops at Vogue Knitting Live. And obviously I was in a mood because these colors definitely have a lot of similarities. So I'm planning on doing a summer garment with this. It's only 450 yards, which is going to be a little tight to make a full piece, but I found a pattern, which I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but I found a pattern that I think I can get the whole thing out of this one skein. It's a little tank top pattern, but if not, then I have some other ideas for some other summery linen silk blend yarns that I've been stashing that might work with this. So yeah, I'm really glad I got it, because it was just the one skein in the whole marketplace that was just screaming at me that I could not leave it behind. So and it wasn't too expensive. So I'm happy I got it. Yeah, because I know I would have regretted not getting it, if that makes sense. It would have bothered me. So oh, and I also got, so Megan of Bad Wolf Girl Knit Sits and Knits also has Bad Wolf Girl Studios on Etsy, and she was really kind and brought all of us some, I think this is a 50-gram half skein of some of her colorways. So I think yeah, this is for Gryffindor from Harry Potter. So yeah, I'm excited to use that in something. I love red lately. So that was Vogue Knitting Live. yeah, the vibe was great. I just had the best time with everybody. I went out to dinner with Kristen, Ellie, and Emily, and then Kristen's husband Dennis met up with us, and then the other girls split up because we were kind of going separate ways afterwards. But yeah, just meeting up for coffee was amazing, and I had a much better time than I thought I would. I mean, I knew I would have a good time no matter what, but just the fact that the vibe was a little calmer than I expected, and yeah, we just got to hang out a lot and knit, which we didn't get a chance to do at Rhinebeck. So yeah, it was a fantastic day, and the weather was cold, but it was a nice clear day. It wasn't raining, it wasn't snowing, so I feel like it couldn't have gone better, basically. So it has been a long, long episode, and so thank you for sticking with me. Again, I know I want to show you the yarn I've been dyeing, but I don't want to do that in this lighting, and yeah, so I will try to do a separate video very soon of what I've been up to in the dye pots, and give you an idea of yeah, when I think I'll be ready to open a shop and things like that. Thank you so much for all the support I've received on my yarn dyeing. I know it's taken me a long time to really pull things together and make it a real thing, but this is just the pace that I'm going at, and I am finally feeling like I'm kind of hitting a stride with actually dyeing yarn and feeling good about it, instead of thinking that it all isn't up to par. And I know I'll get there. I know that eventually I'll figure out my aesthetic, and the whole point is that I have to practice and dye more, or I will never get there. So I feel really connected to the community right now, as far as yeah, just everybody commenting and just giving me your feedback. So yeah, I've just been receiving a lot of positivity, and it's made a big difference in how I feel about things. So thank you. Yeah, I'm just very grateful for all of you. So I think with that, even though I might be forgetting things, I will let you go. Thank you so much for stopping by to spend a while with me talking knitting and yarn, and feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you think about anything that I said. I'm very open to having a conversation about these things, because they're things that I'm still learning about myself. And don't forget to leave a comment about your 2018 goals, and you will have a chance to win a needle cozy from Bed of Roses. So thank you all so much, and I hope you're enjoying your knitting, and I will see you soon. Bye.